If I'm being honest, the Generations remake looks pretty cool, all things considered. What do you guys think?
It looks fine and all, but I for real hate that name. Like they could have picked anything else. But they decided to go with a name that's making the internet run wild.
Gens is a peak game, and the shadow shit looks dope too. I'm grabbing it when it comes out for sure.
Man, all this talk about new games just has me itching to talk about more Sonic games. It's just fun to talk about our franchise, whether it's cool stuff or ugly stuff.
I know, right? Too bad we went over practically everything in the first tier list we did.
Yeah, we covered our whole catalog. We don't really got anything else, aside from superstars, I guess.
Oh yeah, that wasn't out when we made the tier list. What were your thoughts on the game, boys?
Oh, you know, it was fine. It sure was a 2D Sonic game with co-op.
Yeah, it sure was that. The skins were neat, I guess. Also, Fang coming back was cool too.
All right, cool.
Fan games!
Wait, what's up next?
I just had a brain blast, guys! Why don't we rank fan games this time round? We said we should do it eventually anyhow.
Oh yeah, the fans have made so much awesome content over the years. It's insane how many Sonic fan games there are now.
That sounds like a rad idea. Okay then, I'll find a tier list to use for the vid. And for the record, we aren't going to be covering every single fan game out there since there's already a shit ton.
Yeah, we should definitely just do most of the well-known ones for now, but if anyone wants to see a part 2, then let us know.
And thanks everyone for the support on the channel. We passed 5,000 subs just a few weeks ago. Keep up the good work, team.
Yeah, what the knucklehead said. We love you all, but anyways, we got the list right here with a good chunk of fan games. Looks like we got Sonic 3D and 2D up first.
So for context, this fan game reimagines Sonic 3D Blast's general story and levels in the style of the Genesis games. It's a pretty cool idea that's executed really well in my opinion.
Yeah, the sprite work for this game is totally fantastic too, especially for Rusty Ruin. That zone looks fire.
There's tons of extra content as well, like achievements, a special stage zone, and a ton of new characters, including Bluckles. It's literally just me, but blue.
And I love all the Act 1 boss fights. There's so many returning faces like Fang, Tails Doll, and all the Mecha Sonics in a single fight.
Don't forget about Metal Knuckles.
More like Middle Knuckles, heh.
Shut up, bitch.
Fair enough. So overall 3D and 2D is pretty solid overall, and I'm good with giving it anything B or higher.
I think starting us off with a strong A tier sounds about right.
Yeah, that vibes.
Alrighty, A tier it is. Now we're on to a 2-in-1 deal here. Sonic before the sequel and after the sequel.
Some of the first Sonic fan games to ever get proper attention, they may be old, but they're still gems.
On God Knucklehead, I remember being seriously impressed by these. They basically try to fill in the gaps between the first couple Sonic games, which is such a neat idea.
They both look incredible. And I love the little transitions that happen when you go too far up or down a zone. The music also slaps hard.
Although I think it goes without saying that after the sequel is way better than before. It's all pretty much due to before being pretty outdated, while after got a good upgrade between development times.
Yeah, that's fair. Although the last thing I gotta point out is that these games actually put in cutscenes to classic-style Sonic games. That's fucking dope as hell, and give them major points.
Oh, hell yeah. Those Junyo Sonic cutscenes will always have a special place in my heart.
So, I think it would be fair overall to give before a B tier and after an A tier. They aren't the best in the world, but they sure are solid and hold up even to today.
You're spitting facts right now, Knucklehead. B tier and A tier respectively for the sequel duo. Now we're on to a unique one here. What do we think about Battle R?
Battle R is definitely interesting since it takes a pretty obscure Sonic game, that being Sonic R, and turns it into an upgraded version complete with Dreamcast-styled graphics.
Not to mention there's tons of zones to race on from all different Sonic games like Adventure 2, Colors, and Heroes. But what makes this game really fresh is the multiplayer and the unique power-ups each character gets.
Also, the cool, unique chows you can collect and customize. That's such a neat add-on. My chow was badass.
And despite that, you never beat me in a race, ever.
Oh, hush it, Furball. You know that my character is slow as shit in this game.
Skill issue.
I'm gonna make your faces a skill issue in a second.
All right, chill out, Red. I really quickly have to bring up that the controls and camera in this game are a bit iffy, and the game in general still needs some polish to make it great. Still though, I think a solid B tier is in order here.
Yeah, that sounds about right. B tier it is. Next up on our list is Classic and Classic 2.
Just some good old-fashioned classic Sonic fan games. The sprite work is great, and the music is tight.
Both the first and second game are very high quality and honestly could probably be mistaken for actual Sonic games released back then. They fit in so well for what they're supposed to be.
There really isn't much needed to be said, other than they are in fact good classic Sonic games. I'll throw them both in A tier.
Yeah, some of these are pretty self-explanatory and don't really need much time to discuss if you guys couldn't tell.
Hey, less words for some means we can get to more words for the cool shit.
So true, Red. Speaking of cool shit, next up on our list is Sonic Fan Remix.
So when I first saw this game, I immediately got Sonic 4 vibes, since it kind of just has that general look and feel.
The good thing about this game, though, is that it's actually fun to play and looks damn awesome, unlike that piece of shit 4.
Yeah, the level design is good, the physics are pretty solid, and I love all the sound effects used in the 3 levels like the water sounds.
That's the one issue, though. This is the first game on the list that was straight up abandoned and left unfinished. So there's only 3 levels.
So lame. But yeah, the website for the game isn't even up anymore, which puts it down by quite a few points in my opinion.
Yeah, it's tough, and I feel like it probably could have gotten an A tier if it was finished. For now, though, I'll be sticking it in C tier. Still worth checking out, though.
Oh man, next is Sonic Nexus. This one came out way back in the late 2000s, if I remember right.
Yeah, you'd be right, Nux. This is another oldie. It was actually being worked on using Christian Whitehead's retro engine. Although I think it lost production when he was hired by Sega.
Yeah, something like that. Now there isn't much to be said about it. It's a solid 2-act fan game that's largely inspired by Sonic CD. The music is nice, my sprite is good, but other than that, nothing to write home about.
Yeah, I'd just give it another C tier. It's fine.
Alright then. Alright, next is... Oh dear lord.
Oh, what's that? Sonic Omens? You mean the game with stolen music from Cars 2? You mean the game with shitty voice acting? You mean the game that for some reason brought back fucking Chris Thorndike? You mean the game that had a tedious, boring as fuck, annoying tower level with a tree? You mean the game that had an owner that set up a Patreon where you had to pay to play early versions of the game, despite the fact that you're literally not supposed to make profit off a fan game, but instead, they did it anyway, and even put random-ass QR codes around the game to make it nothing more than a soulless failure that everyone loathes now.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Alright, coming off that mistake of a game. Next up is Sonic Overture. And my god, this game is crazy cool!
It's totally cool!
My
It's a
fucking
prequel to
ears.
the first Sonic game, and it adds so many elements from the concepts we saw for the creation of the franchise!
Yeah, they put in Eggman's old pajama design, and even the rabbit that Sonic was going to be before he turned into a spiky shit stain.
Those were the days where he didn't take me too seriously. If only that egghead knew what hell was coming.
Even though this game only has 2 zones, it seems to still be getting worked on, so we could see a full version sometime in the future. With that being said, I think we should give it A tier for now.
Yeah, that works. Maybe it can be bumped up to S tier if it's finished. Alright, now we're on to Retro Sonic.
This is another pretty old one. It came out in 2007, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the creators were also asked to work on the mobile ports for the classic games, so it's kinda like Nexus in that regard.
Yeah, this one has a lot of CD-inspired stuff, and the level design is pretty solid as well. Although I do remember crashing when I found a special stage ring, so that was weird.
Yeah, this game was abandoned kind of like Nexus, so there isn't much to say other than it's fine. I'd go B tier tops.
Same here, since we need to get to this next entry pronto.
Damn right we do. Alright, B tier for Retro Sonic, and next up, of course, is the one and only Sonic Robo Blast 2.
If this doesn't go anywhere other than S, I'm offing myself.
That's a pretty extreme knocks, but yeah, Robo Blast 2 is peak as fuck.
So, for those who for some reason don't know, Robo Blast 2 is a Doom mod which takes 2D Sonic sprites and puts it into a 3D environment.
But the best part about this game is that it's completely modable. There's literally hundreds of character mods, level mods, so much cool shit that's been made.
And even then, the base game is great. The levels are interesting and fun to go through. They brought back Fang, and you can even play in multiplayer. This game has it all.
Yeah, Robo Blast 2 is an easy S tier. If y'all haven't played it, then do it right this instant.
Kinda sad that that game is better than like 80% of our official games.
Shut up, bro. We have mods too. For some games at least.
Speaking of mods, one of the RB2 mods got its own spot on the list. That, of course, being Roboblast 2 Kart.
Oh my god, one of the best racing games I've ever played.
Facts, little buddy. Not to mention this mod has its own mods, and this mod is a mod of a Doom mod. Modception!
Okay, don't break your brain, knucklehead. But yeah, this game gets a S tier as well, no question. Seriously, check out Roboblast 2, y'all.
Shouldn't we talk about Roboblast 1 now, though?
Oh yeah, the first game. I gotta say, it looks fantastic.
guys?
It clearly took inspiration from Mania with all the smooth animation going on.
Yeah, for real! Again, it's just a 2-act
Guys,
demo, so
hello?
there isn't too much to play, but it's so smooth, and the music is great.
Yeah, it definitely isn't as impressive as Roboblast 1, but I'm fine with giving it a strong A tier for now.
Guys!
What the fuck do you want, Tails, you little bitch?
That isn't the original Roboblast 1, it's a remake.
Wait, really? Well, what does the original look like then?
Alright, here, I'll show you.
Oh, ew!
That's, yeah, I can't defend that D tier.
Alright, we got a few more to go. Next up is Time Attacked.
Time Attack? Man, this shit came out in 2003. It's basically ancient.
Damn, that's freaking centuries in fan game time. Yeah, I can't say this game has aged well. At all, really.
The controls aren't too great, the screen is small, and the music is really crunchy. It's just what happens when something is left in the dust to time.
Although I will admit my sprite actually doesn't look too bad. Gotta say.
Other than the sprite, the game is mid nowadays. I say C tier at best.
Yeah, C tier is fair. Alright, now we're on to Time Twisted. This one's neato.
Yeah, I remember that this was one of the first fan games that really stood out with all the custom sprite work, new music, and even some cutscenes.
This game definitely takes a lot of notes from CD again, mainly due to the past and future post returning. That's cool in my book since CD is fire.
The cutscenes do show their age, but the level design, cool sprites, and returning mechanics make Time Twisted a certified classic fan game in my opinion.
I feel like this one could have totally benefited from a sequel though.
Yeah, Time Twisted 2, Triple T, make it happen.
I'd say this is another solid A tier, big bro.
Sounds about right to me. Alright, we got 4 games left. Next up is an absolute banger in Triple Trouble 16-bit.
This game does exactly what it wants to do. Put Triple Trouble on the Genesis. It does that in a spot-on way.
Triple Trouble has always felt like the best 8-bit game for me. If the fan game was actually how the game went officially, then I feel it could have a chance to honestly be the best classic Sonic game.
Definitely without question one of the best fan games out there. The music is great, and the level design and enemies, while consistent to the 8-bit original, still feel fresh. Hats off to everyone who made this insane remake.
Is it really an S tier though?
It has the drop dash too.
Well, guess it's an S tier then. Now we're on to Sonic Utopia. Damn, this game is tragic. It's so good but just never got completed or improved on outside of one level.
This game ran with, pun intended, the idea of an open-world Sonic game much earlier than Frontiers did. It genuinely looks so good, and the area you get to play in can occupy you for hours.
And it feels so good to play. Like, it is so satisfying to gain speed and do crazy jumps without losing any momentum. Speaking of which, the momentum feels perfect in this game.
There's tons of secret areas to the side of the level to explore, and the Green Hill remix sounds great.
This could be the best Sonic fan game. Or at the very least, the best 3D Sonic fan game if it was just finished. But now it's stuck in a one-level state, and I don't feel like it can get an S like that.
Honestly, I feel like it could get an A considering how good it is just on one level alone.
Yeah, it should get an A at best. Its impact was way too noteworthy for anything less.
Alright, that makes sense. Second to last on this list is Sonic XG.
I actually hadn't heard of this game until recently. It's a direct sequel to Sonic and Knuckles, which is something I'm surprised people haven't done before.
Yeah, I mean it makes the Death Egg crash into Angel Island. That's a pretty cool twist in my opinion.
Gotta say that the frame rate isn't too good on XG and kinda makes the game feel slower than it should be. But it isn't too big of a deal.
Overall, the game isn't too remarkable, but it ain't bad by any means. I think that earns it a solid B.
Sounds fair to me. And now we're on to the last fan game of the day, that being Sonic 0.
Okay, so this is unfortunately one that's currently stuck in demo form. However, I immediately need to praise the fact that this is one of the only fan games to have a hub world for a 2D game. That's awesome!
Yeah, it's pretty cool, I'll give it that, but there really isn't much to this game in its state. One of the first levels is just a big water level, with some good sprite work, I guess.
Yeah, and it sure doesn't help that the demo was released in 2012, and we've since gotten Like nothing.
It sucks to end the list on some mid, but that's just how it goes sometimes. C tier for me.
C tier for me, too.
All right, and with that, another tier list is wrapped up with a nice little bow. Good job, fan game devs. You guys are crazy awesome.
And there are plenty of other fan games that weren't on the list. You all should totally play them. They're so amazing.
Not to mention the fan output is better than the slop Sega cook.
Shut up,
Nux.
Nux.
Jeez. Okay. Well, with that out of the way, what do we got planned next, boys?
I'll probably find another game for us to play. It's been a while anyhow.
Sounds good. I'm ready to win another one and leave you two in the dust.
In your dreams, little bro. I'll catch you guys later, but be prepared for the almighty knucklehead to rain down his fury.
Catch you two in the next one. Peace, y'all.